I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.
As far as entrepreneurship goes, I got to a point to where I felt complacent at my job, and I just knew I needed to do something. So, um, one of my coworkers is a big watch collector, and I am too. I've always collected watches since I could tell time. So, he put me on his watch brand, 17 watches with Chris. So he
Hmm.
said, follow him. He got some dope watches. So I started looking at his watches, and I came across his Twitter page, and he had started talking about how he started his business. So I just started changing my timeline to all entrepreneurs because I was like, I think I want to do this. I just didn't know what I want to do yet. So fast forward, Chris dropped his course on e-commerce. I bought it, and I went through the course in like a week, and I got like a big bonus from work. So I took that bonus from work, and I got on Alibaba, and I ordered a bunch of samples, and then I eventually ordered my inventory, and here we are now, like 3 years later. So
I love it. I love the start
yeah.
because it's just like it's so relatable and there's a lot of things in there that's just like too many people like can relate to their journey. Like
Hmm.
you at work, you work and you feel like, man, this one source of income, this is not
Yeah.
enough. I gotta have something else coming in. So you
Hmm.
took the time, you first you made that change in what you were looking at, then you invested in
Yeah.
yourself. And now look, you
Right.
still growing, scaling the business and just working at it. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I have a
Yeah, and
question
it's
from that
very.
story. Oh no, I was just gonna
You
say I had
go, you go, Jay.
all right. I had a question from that story. So what were some of the first things like pitfalls and difficulties that you had to overcome with that?
With the watch business,
Mm,
the hardest thing for me to do was finding a target audience. That was the hardest thing. Um, so for a while, I was just doing like random stuff. Just as far as like my social media page, I would just copy what other big watch brands were doing. And then one day I was listening to a podcast. I forgot what podcast it was. I think it was Millionaire Mindset with Zay.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to his podcast, and I forgot who was on there, but anyway, they was talking about rebranding. And then I randomly thought about Two Chains. I was like, Two Chains used to be Titty Boy, and then he just rebranded and blew up. I was like, I can rebrand too. And I was like, well, on my personal page, I always talk about building wealth anyway, so I'm gonna just change my brand to that. It'll flow better. So um, I wiped my social media page, like my business social media page, and um, I just renamed all my watches after wealth principles. So you got the fortune, the equity, and the principle. And I called it the wealth collection. So I just changed my target audience to basically black entrepreneurs. So it worked. It worked.
I love
So
that. You locking in and focusing. I
hmm
kind of want to take a step back because you talked about like how you went on Alibaba, ordered the shipment and
yeah.
stuff like that. Can we just kind of talk people through that process a little bit? Like, so like, what is Alibaba for somebody that's not familiar, and like, why'd you go there?
Okay. So I went there because Chris recommended it, of course. Shout out to Chris. But Alibaba is like, I guess eBay. That's how I was, it's eBay for everything. So you can order whatever you want off there. Like I seen Yeezys on there, um, Nike shoes, like anything you can think of, you can order, and that's where all the big brands order from. A lot of them use China to get all this stuff, and then they brand it and they sell it to us for astronomical price. But that's business. But but going through all the watches, it started to get overwhelming because of course it's so many watches. You got women's watches, you got men's watches, and then you can, get watches that are like unisex. So I ordered so many samples. But what one shortcut that I found was usually the samples are branded, they just have a random brand on there. So for anybody that's looking to get into a product based business, if you see a brand on that specific product on Alibaba, you can take the name of that brand and the product and type it in Amazon. Usually it's always on Amazon, and you can look at the reviews. And if the reviews are good, you can go ahead and order a customized sample. If they're bad, then you know to move on to the next product, whatever it is. So That's one shortcut that I found. That saved me a bunch of money on just ordering random watches that weren't really good or that
I
I
can
didn't really
believe it.
like. Yeah.
That's a big hack. I ain't never would have thought about that one.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. So that's a big hack. But other than that, getting used to staying up all night because of the time change to talk to the manufacturers on WhatsApp. That's pretty much how we communicate. So that was big. So I had a lot of sleepless nights. I had to get up and go to work in the morning. But that's it. Once you find a good product, ordering it in bulk, they make it super easy. Usually you just have to pay like 30% down and you just come up with the rest later. Uh when it's time to deliver it. But well, yeah, they ship pretty fast when you order a big shipment. Of course, they use DHL, so I got it. I got the watches within like a week, so it was pretty good, pretty easy process. Yeah,
Okay, I got it. All right. So I do want to know more about the watches. So
yeah.
like you went in, you got them, you got the like you contacting these suppliers. How was the process like getting everything or in order with that? Like, is it? I know you say you up late nights, and I'm pretty sure it's some type of language barrier or something here because we're talking to people in China, maybe like accent issues. I don't know, like just what was like that like how does it go setting and with it? Because I mean, you said they have people who already have brands on these
Yeah.
products. Like you just contact the supplier, send them your logo, and
Yeah, so I contact the supplier. I tell them, hey, I own, 24/7 watches. I'm looking for a quantity of, I just start off small, say 100 watches. I want my logo in the dial of the watch, on the back, and on the buckle. And I send them, the watermark file of my logo, and they pretty much just make it happen. I haven't had to deal with the language barrier. They actually pretty good with their English, at least typing. I don't know. I never talked to them on the phone, but at least texting, their English is pretty good. So what they'll do, they'll send me pictures of what they will look like. And from there, I can decide if I want to get a custom sample, which I usually do. So I can go ahead and start the photo shoot process. So we get a custom sample and we negotiate the price and they send them. But it's pretty straightforward. Usually it probably takes me about, with a good manufacturer, maybe about 2 weeks just to iron out all the details and get them down to a price that I want, because not only do they supply like the watch, they supply my packaging too. So I have to make sure that they get the logo right on the packaging and everything. But I would say that's the easiest part, talking to the manufacturers. It can be overwhelming if you're dealing with more than one, but that's really the easy part.
So what you're doing, Maya, it's
hmm
white labeling, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
have
So
a
I
question.
put.
Could you break
mhm.
down what? Could you break that down for the listeners? What's white labeling versus drop shipping?
Yeah, so with drop shipping, you have a warehouse that just ships your stuff, and it's not, you can't put like your personal branding on it at all. And a lot of times their shipping times can be like 10 to 14 days. Whereas with me holding my own inventory, I customize all my boxes and everything. I get it out to you within 3 to 5 days. And I say that, but I really deliver it in like 2 days because I use priority shipping. But yeah, so that's basically the process. You customize your shipping and you have full control over when your customers get it. You can keep track of when they receive it. So um, it just depends on what your preference is between drop shipping and holding all your inventory. I prefer to hold all mine because I have full control and I want to make sure, that my customers get what they want. So that's different. I hope I
yeah,
answered that
I like
correctly.
that answer
Yeah.
too because I like one thing you said in there where
Yeah.
like you'll say you use the priority mail and you'll tell them 3 to 5 days because that's another thing too. Like that helps your
Yeah.
brand whenever
hmm
it comes to actually holding inventory versus drop shipping. Because like you're
Right.
saying with drop shipping, you don't have any true control over the means of
Mm-mm.
production or shipping. You don't have anything, but
Right.
the way you hold your product, you can
hmm
actually So
Exactly.
with that, now that like you got your product, you got your stuff from the people, Like
Yeah.
how'd you get off the product? Because I guess that's everybody big fear about hopping into the game, right? They like, oh man, what if I buy all this stuff and I can't sell it?
Yeah. So of course, I marketed on my social media. I played around with Facebook ads. I had some success with it, not a lot. Um, I know how to set up my Facebook ads properly now. I got a course for it, so it's cool. And just promoting on social media, I would post like maybe 3 to 4 times a day, and I would, whoever was like in my niche, like my target audience, I would go and comment on that picture. So like for example, I can go to y'all page and look at who commented or who liked y'all's posts. So anybody that like y'all platform, they're into entrepreneurship or they're thinking about it, so that fits the people that I'm trying to reach. So I would go and see who liked your post, and I would comment and interact on some of that post. And most of the time they follow me. I'd say about 80% of those people will follow my page and they'll at least click on my site.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So and that's something that you have to keep up with as well. Like it probably takes, for every 30 people that visit my site, I usually get one sale. So it's important that you pay attention to your shop, or whatever platform. I use Shopify. So you want to pay attention to your Shopify numbers like that, because you need to know that. You want to get as many people on the site as possible.
Exactly, because it's good that you know that number, because it's a numbers game. Like, that's where you know like how you can scale this, how you can continue to grow, like what you can expect whenever you advertise.
Yep, exactly.
And I was actually going to ask you that too. Like, how do you track those numbers? How do you keep up with that to figure out for every 30 people that are visiting my site, I get one sale?
Yeah, when I was promoting like heavy running Instagram ads and just posting on my own 3 to 4 times a day, I noticed that I would at least get 30 people on 25 to 30 people on the site. And I noticed I would at least get one sale for every, 25 to 30 people on the site. So Shopify does a really good job of showing you those numbers, all the analytics and everything. And I also pay attention to my Instagram analytics as well. It'll tell me my audience likes when I post like tips on time management or tips on anything, tips on how to build wealth, or they like when I post videos. It could be a clip of a podcast, or I'm a huge Dame Dash fan, so I might post a clip for him, things like that. So just paying attention to what your audience likes and just delivering that to them over and over again. And with ecom or with sales, period, it's really a long game, because how many times do we look for something online and we might add it to the cart, but we don't check out, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll send an email saying, hey, you forgot this. So it's really the long game. It might take somebody 2 weeks to buy from you, 30 days, 60 days. It just depends, but you got to keep putting your brand in their face, basically. So
definitely.
It's definitely a long game. Yeah.
Definitely, like, gotta make sure you putting it in their face so you can create that customer lifetime value. I know that's something we've been learning a lot about with BWR, just like really work on that part of it. So like, can you talk to that part about the business? Like, how are you creating, those customers that come back?
Customers that come back. I think,
cause like, like the abandoned cart customers, like, you know what I mean? Like the people that'll be like, oh man, like I got it, but I left it and I just forgot about it.
Yeah, so I have it automated through my website, to where it'll send you an email like, hey, you forgot this in the cart. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Typically the method that I like to use really on Instagram is I interact with my followers. So if I see something that they post on their page that matches my brand, I might share it to my story, or I might send them a DM and just build that personal relationship. It's not me asking for a sale or anything. I'm just interacting with you. I might like your shoes. I'm like, hey, those are some dope shoes. Where did you get those from? Just showing them that I'm a real person, you know what I'm saying, behind the brand. And I'm not just trying to like get your money, even though I am, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, but like that's super important. Because we talk about that again a lot with social media. Everybody wants like, to get on social media and make money, but they got to understand that it is still social at the end of the day. Like whenever you talk to people, you provide value, you create relationships. That's where the value comes in.
Yeah. So I just think it's really important to keep keep that relationship because they'll remember you. Like, oh, she told me, happy holidays, and she commented on my son's picture, whatever. People remember that. Yeah, because the big brands, they too big to do that. So we got to set ourselves apart as smaller brands.
Message.
I ain't fat fingered that time.
Now, what I like that though, like finding that niche within, a niche. It's like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
I'm in here where people, are interested in watches and that they want, this, but I'm gonna also separate myself from the big brands by being more like human, being more like interactive with my customers and stuff. So that's really cool.
Thank you.